Yo, what's up? This is IGN Now. Now we're giving you the rundown on the reported runtime for Sony's upcoming hit animated movie Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Speaking of Spider-Man, the Marvel Spider-Man 2 video game is getting a prequel, which you'd think it would already have since it's a sequel, but it's not in the form you'd expect it to be.
And we're also getting an Xbox game showcase with a direct right after, all on today's IGN Now. So our first story, we're going to be talking about the reported runtime for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, it is reportedly 2 hours and 20 minutes. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by Sony. This is according to AMC's listing of the film. 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think that's pretty long, and it's actually the longest for any animated Western film.
Like, how much does this movie cost? Because animation is not cheap, and to make it 2.5 hours almost, it's gonna be good.
So you're just assuming just because of the length of it?
Yeah, that's why every 3-hour movie is good.
3-hour movie? So wait a minute, okay, but this is animated though. I feel like with animation, it benefits from just being like short. Like, you know, you look at the Super Mario Brothers movie, that was 90 minutes.
Right, yeah, everyone loves a tight 90, but at the same time...
That sounds gross, don't say that.
Tight 90?
Yeah,
everyone says tight 90.
Just say short,
Let
90.
us know if you say tight 90. Everyone said the Mario movie was like speed running a movie, and we don't want that for Spider-Verse. We want to live in that universe, right?
I'm kind of curious, like, you know, will they have the attention span for a 2 hour and 20 minute long movie?
Parents are gonna have to sit with their children and be like, listen, this is the sequel to one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. You're gonna have to sit in the theater for just a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah.
Which is the Mario movie. Because they're gonna be like, no, Dad, the Mario movie was 90 minutes and that's as much as I can see. And then be like, all right, I'm leaving you at home. But also remember that Spider-Verse, like, while it's PG and animated thing, it's not for kids, it's for everybody. So I know that a lot of kids will go see this movie because it's animated, but
well, of course,
for nerds like us, it's like, hell yeah, 2 hours and 20 minutes, like, let's go.
We'll eat that up, obviously. There's gonna be a lot for us to kind of, break down too. Speaking of breakdown, we're gonna break down what's happening with this Spider-Man comic that's apparently coming out. So the Insomniac Games Marvel Spider-Man 2 is getting a prequel comic book, which is...
And it's free.
It's going to be free. It's coming out May 6th, which is Free Comic Book Day, which is freaking awesome. Now, this is the thing though. What's kind of weird about this, if I'm just looking at this surface value, of course, this is a prequel to Marvel Spider-Man 2. So is that just the first video game in comic book form?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Akeem. So if you want to get technical here,
I do.
The Marvel Spider-Man 2 prequel comic is actually an interquel because it's going to look at what happens between Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales game and Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
So it is a prequel to the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game, but technically it's an interquel.
Interquel, is that a word?
Interquel
is that up?
No, it's a word.
It's a word.
There's a prequel, there's a squeakquel, and there's an interquel.
We have a quote from one of the narrative directors of Insomniac Games. Quote, when we initially sat down with the team at Marvel, we explored a few different ideas about what kinds of stories we could tell in a prequel comic, but we kept coming back to the same core premise. What if Peter, Miles, and MJ had to team up against a new supervillain whose powers they didn't understand? Ooh. Additionally, we wanted to make sure that we could get a peek into what this heroic trio has been doing since the events of Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. What is Pete up to now that there are 2 Spider-Men in the city? How is Miles doing in school? And how is MJ's journalism career going? That's quite interesting. So they're gonna be finding a new villain.
I feel like it's gonna be maybe like a C-list, D-list villain because they don't want to take away from Venom because Venom's obviously the big bad in the game, and it is kind of really fun, like those questions of like, what do we do in a comic? That it's like, yeah, there's like 2 Spider-Man and we haven't really seen that aside from Spider-Verse, obviously, but it's just like, and then I guess like in Miles Morales, like you see them kind of at the beginning and end, but like then Peter Parker has to go on vacation or whatever. Insomniac also announced that you can finally get Marvel Spider-Man Remastered standalone. So in the past, you could only get it if you had the Miles Morales, like, Ultimate Edition or whatever, or if you had the original game, you could upgrade it, right? Or like, it's just like a free thing. But now you can finally buy it. So if you somehow never played Marvel Spider-Man, the 2018 game, perfect game, then you can finally just buy it for $50 on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, I mean, catch up on everything. You can buy it for $50? That's still a lot of money.
Right, well, I didn't choose the price.
$50 a game came out years ago.
Okay, well, it's $10 if you already have it, you can just upgrade it. But yes, $50.
It's freaking ridiculous.
Right, well, I mean,
people are made of money?
No, but the developers, I'm sure, need it.
I'm still curious about what Marvel Spider-Man 2 is going to be about. Like we've gotten.
It's going to have Venom.
Going to have Venom, played by Tony Todd.
Yes, which he kind of like spoiled the release window. Like we knew it was coming out in fall, but he said it was going to be out.
He said September.
Yeah.
My man said September. Then he tried to cover it up. He was like, "Oh, I think it was a fever dream." It was not a fever dream.
I don't know. I bought it. I was like,
you don't spoil movies and then call it a fever dream. I don't think that's how it works. All right, now our next story, we're going to be talking about the new Xbox Games Showcase, which was announced to be happening in June, and they're going to be doing a Starfield Direct, which I guess is something.
Oh, they're doing an Xbox showcase and then a Starfield Direct? Two things.
Yes.
For the price of fun.
I'm kind of curious as to why they felt compelled to even announce this when,
Akeem, you know exactly why, okay?
I do.
So Redfall came out yesterday, May 2nd.
Tell us about the vampire in the room.
So the reviews for Redfall are not great. We have our IGN review in progress. Our IGN review will might be up by the time you are watching this. I feel like, look, let's be real. We love Xbox, we love Microsoft, but they obviously announced this to hide the Redfall stuff, which is not a mean thing. Like that's just marketing, that's just PR. And it's like, well, we have all this stuff coming. And Xbox always does their showcase in June. It's like their E3 kind of adjacent showcase. So I think that the haters will be like, oh, it's to cover Redfall, but it is, and that's fine.
It's funny that you say the haters, because apparently we have a hater in our midst. Our very own Destin Ligari, he actually dredged up a tweet made last year around this time. It was made in May by Phil Spencer, pretty much like him talking about the delay of both Starfield and Redfall, and he quote tweeted him saying, "Honestly, with the state Redfall is in, I'm very worried about Starfield." And honestly, I think that's a good criticism to have. Because I'm personally kind of worried too, with just all the bugs that people are finding. And Destin is someone you can trust because he's currently playing the game.
Yeah.
So he's finding all of these things, all the wonkiness that other people have been complaining about with Redfall. So
I think a lot of people are maybe a little worried that Starfield, which comes out to, oh my God, Starfield comes out in September this year, which Spider-Man also comes out in September, according to Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about how Xbox, and even Phil Spencer has mentioned, there should have been more games. We should have had, they obviously are working on games, but the release schedule is not where they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just we have to put Redfall out, and they were it's not ready. And clearly from the reviews and stuff, it shows, which is a huge bummer because we want every game to succeed. We love games. But so the fact that Redfall and Starfield were delayed a couple times, Starfield has to get great reviews, or Xbox will always have this tainted 2023 was the year of bad,
Yeah, and the way that they're billing Starfield too, as someone who's played quite recently No Man's Sky, I'm looking forward to Starfield and just this expansive universe that you get to explore, going to different planets. It looks beautiful too. From what we've been shown, it looks beautiful.
And you can go to 1,000 different planets. I remember that was the big thing last year. It was
here's hoping for some good stuff coming from Xbox.
And the cool thing about it, and just to plug IGN, is that the Xbox showcase on the June 11th is going to be part of IGN's Summer of Gaming.
Yes.
So you can watch the showcase with us here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be physically sitting here.
Yeah, you can come into the studio. Here's the address to the IGN office. We'll put that in there.
There better not be a real address there.
1, 2, 3.
I see a real address there.
Akeem is personally inviting everyone in Los Angeles to the IGN studios.
This is not true. If you show up to this address, I will arrest you.
No, it's fine.
Hey,
You'll be able. You can't. Well, citizens arrest. No, you'll be able to watch it on all of our live channels, live streams. It's gonna be great. It's on a Sunday. Xbox always does their showcase on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I remember that because we have to come in on a Sunday, which is not normally when we work.
You don't know that.
I do.
You don't know when I work. What are you talking about?
You work Monday through Friday.
You have a list of my schedule?
I actually do. I actually set your schedule.
Okay, fair enough. And that's IGN Now. For now, we want you to tune in to IGN wherever you like to watch.
Like in the studio in person.
Of course.